Welcome to the Smash Jump podcast, and welcome to the second ever episode of Game Fights, a show about great games and even greater arguments. Now, what is Game Fights? Game Fights is a debate show where three contestants will be asked to take a stand on several questions related to gaming. Our contestants will be given 2 minutes to give an opening argument for their stance, and then enter combat, where they will spend the next 10 minutes duking it out against each other. Whoever makes the best argument will win that round. The person who will win the most rounds at the end of 3 will be the victor. I will be listening, evaluating, and moderating the debate and declaring the winner after the time is up. The winner must be decided based on arguments alone. No personal bias is allowed. So just because I agree personally with the stance does not mean that person will get the points. You must make solid arguments. Now, we have a new person here, Rowan, so we want to make sure. Are there any questions about those sort of basic rules before we get started?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm all caught up to date. I know what I'm doing.
All right. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear it. All right. Now, before we go ahead and get started, we have 2 returning people here, but we also have somebody new. So let's go ahead and start with our new contestant, Rowan. Go ahead and introduce yourselves to the people.
Rowan, I'm a contributor at Smash Jump, and my favorite games are stuff like Yakuza and like a Dragon franchise. I've done all that mainline series. I love Monster Hunter, and I kind of have no console commitment, I've got to be honest. Apart from that.
And now for our returning players, who wants to start off?
Ladies first.
I'm Nicole,
Gentlemen.
Smash Jump contributor, and I didn't win last time, but I fought like hell. Ironically, the winner is not here today, so
right.
We have a chance, I guess. So yeah.
I am Sam. I'm the video production manager. I too did not win last time, and now I'm back for blood. So I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Back for redemption. Yeah. 2 of you back for redemption, or will you go down with the brand new contestant here? We're going to have to find out. With that, let's let the battle begin with round number 1. Round 1 of Game Fights. Which superhero, except Batman and Spider-Man, for obvious reasons, would make the best video game today? We're going to start off with our brand new contestant. Rowan, what is your answer? 2 minutes on the clock.
Now?
Yep, let's go. What's your argument?
I decided with Incredible Hulk. I know he had those big games back in like 2008 that people love and adore, and I think they look absolutely sick. They basically made a prototype thing, and people love prototype. So I would just love to see, like imagine a modern day Hulk game where you're running around picking up tanks, throwing it around, absolutely destroying everything. That's just the basis of my argument. Just make a modern day prototype with Hulk. That's really all I got.
All right.
I think it'd be awesome.
All right, we'll end it there.
Mate. Coming in weak.
Prototype with Hulk. I got it. Prototype with Hulk. I got it. All right. Nicole, since you're already starting to bring those fangs out, calling it weak, you're the next one up. What was your answer to the question? 2 minutes.
My answer to the question was Black Widow, because I think that she was always an underrated superhero in the mainline Marvel films. I'm not big on like comic books in general, just never got into them, but the movies I enjoyed. And she only got like the main movie she did after Endgame, which is big sad. So I think that Black Widow would be really great because I personally am a big fan of stealth type games. And I think all the spy drama and fun of being Black Widow could be really good. You know, I was even thinking that maybe Ubisoft could, actually make a return to form to Splinter Cell by making some form of Black Widow game, since they're really big on partnering with Disney at the moment to do stuff, because they just did Star Wars Outlaws. So I'm thinking they could continue that partnership by doing a Black Widow game. They're capable of doing fun stealth stuff when they really try. So that'd be nice. I think the combat could be really great. Black Widow is an iconic superhero. People love her for many reasons. Like not only is she a badass, but she's really smart. She's really beautiful. She's kind of taken all the boxes. And it could just be really, really fun. It's there's lots of really great kind of missions you could go on. And it's almost kind of Hitman style as well, as what I'm imagining. So almost like you have to break into situations, then try and find ways to like poison certain targets or like manipulate certain targets. And obviously, Black Widow, being who she is an attractive woman, so she can kind of use that to lure people into situations, to try and get information out of them and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think that should be really, really badass. And I think the music, could be really cool. I like a good like spy type soundtrack type thing. A big fan of that. So yeah, get the people who did Deathloop to do the music for it. So yeah, I just think that it'd be a really, really cool game, and I'd love to see it. And I think it could work on so many levels, and I think most people would be into it. So yeah, be different than other kick-ass, big dramatic superhero stories.
Right on time. Timer going. All right, and last off, we got Sam. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a big comic book guy. Love Marvel, love DC. And with this question, I went back and forth on a number of ones. Daredevil, even Howard the Duck I thought would be a good option. But I went with The Flash. And purely because I don't think that there has been a game like what you can do with the Flash. Yes, there have been other games like Saints Row 4 with the superpowers that has a little bit of elements with the Flash, but imagine the exhilarating feeling of zooming across the city in no time whatsoever, big open world, massive amounts of stuff to do, crimes to fight, and people do like The Flash. I know the film was dreadful. The TV show, though, has skyrocketed. There is an appeal for this character. And plus, as well, there are multiple different Flashes that do have their own fan base. Jay Garrick, the original, Barry Allen, the most recognizable, Wally West, the fan favorite. There are so many different kinds. You could even do what Insomniac did with Spider-Man and make different Flashes have different power sets. There is so much you can do with this. However, the best thing about superhero games is the traversal. Spider-Man's web swinging, everyone loves that. Batman's gliding in the Arkham games, exhilarating. Superman could also be a good pick as well with his flight, but the Flash, there is something unique and something different that the Flash can bring to a video game installment. And I believe that with all the superheroes that are available, the Flash is the one that will provide something new, something different, something unique. There's a lot of things you can do with it, with him, with his power set, with the gameplay. There is a lot of options there that you can go ahead and you can try with that character.
All right, perfect. Those were the opening arguments. So now we've got 10 minutes on the clock. It's a free-for-all battle. You guys will argue it out, talk about why your point is better than the other points, tear each other down, build yourselves up, put a wall against each other, around yourself to protect yourself from other people. We'll have to see how it goes. 10 minutes. Go ahead and start.
One thing I want to quickly ask, Nicole, tell me how this Black Widow game is going to work.
Oh God, I was about to start picking a fight with someone else. All right, great, cool. Well, I think that in terms of how it's going to work, I think it'll be very much like a kind of almost James Bondy kind of Hitman kind of style kind of combination of everything. Because the thing is, there aren't any like truly new video game ideas. So I would very much like, the kind of classic going into a mission that she's already on and then kind of going through that. And then I would really love to kind of explore some of the trauma and everything through the Red Room and all the kind of stuff she's doing there and get really, really deep into her character, because I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did her a bit of an injustice there by not touching enough on that stuff. It's a very male dominated genre. And most of the characters are dudes. So they're going to focus on them more. Obviously, Captain
Film
America
came out at the
Iron
wrong
Man are the main
time as
ones
well.
there. Yeah. And so I think that I think that a Black Widow game being really cool, stealthy, and a bit different would be a nice vibe. Like, I'm not really big on being a badass, like too overpowered kind of superhero. Yeah, and I think it'd be just a cool opportunity. I'd like it to be like mission based to a degree, not open world. I think open world just wouldn't really match the vibe. I'd like something focused, very story driven. Like great motion capture and cutscenes would be fantastic. And like, I don't know about choices, maybe some choices thrown in there, but like, it's obviously the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that they might get funny about that, but maybe it's like an alternate one in which you kind of get to choose your own kind of path a little bit. But yeah, I was thinking, assassination targets type situations and then kind of plotting through that. So I think that'd be really, really fun.
But
So,
what
so
would
the-
you...
Go on, Ron. Go on.
So
Ron.
I feel like that's a point from very narratively driven. But what could Black Widow reasonably do in a stealth game that would make it shine out differently to other stealth genres. Like,
Also, the thing is that I think that with Black Widow, I think that she could do a combination. So not entirely stealth. So I think there's a lot of fun stealth stuff that she could do. And I do think that there'd be really, really great action set piece moments, like, kind of sprinkled between, in order to bring out that superhero Avenger kind of vibe, because she is an Avenger, So I think that alternating between stealth and that, but having stealth be the main focus would be kind of cool. So that's kind of my vibe on that. So
But Black Widow's not that much, not that big of a character. Yeah, the MCU did push her popularity much further than what came before. But if I had the option of playing a game about Captain America or about Iron Man or Black Widow, I'm gonna pick either one of the two, and that's not primarily because they've got a dick. It's just because they're better characters. They are better characters.
I'd pick
yeah,
Incredible
well,
Hulk.
I want to
out of
say
them.
that they
So,
are.
of course, yeah.
Well, I would say they're incredible. They are
Get 'em,
incredible
Rowan.
characters, but that's
Yeah,
'cause
they
that-
are incredible. You're not going to
I'm
believe what his
gonna-
name is.
I'm gonna I'm gonna pull this fucking card because I everyone's kind of ganging up on me here, and as a woman representing a woman right now, I need everyone to shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Well,
Which is shut the fuck up for 1 fucking second. Let me finish my 5
I want to
minutes
drop
point.
on Sam. I want to drop on Sam.
Okay,
I got
drop on
points
Sam
to
in a
make.
second. Drop on Sam
Drop
in a
on me.
second.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So simply, it's that Black Widow hasn't gotten as much love and all the shit that she deserves, and everyone else has been given so much, great treatment because it's a genre made by men, written about men. It all started with men, so it'd be really, really nice to have more attention given to the fucking women. Right, next.
Dismantle me. Go on. I'm ready for it.
I generally, so you make a point about like moving around as Flash. How would it realistically be that interesting apart from you just going really
Thank you.
fast?
He goes too fast. How are you
Because-
supposed to explore?
Because like if you've seen the 2008 games or like Prototype, you can like sprint along buildings, you can rip chunks off them, you can jump around. It's really satisfying to play as Hulk. It would be really satisfying to play as Hulk in a game.
So yeah, that is a fair point, because this is the same problem that you have with Superman in video games as well. That's why he's never got a video game since Superman Returns, I believe, which all the way back in 2006. Now, from my point of view, no, but I mean like actually like in open world, like when
Like
you're
a solo
flying around with
Superman, I get it.
Superman.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Now with the Flash,
Right.
obviously it's the same thing. He is the fastest man alive. That's his whole thing. Now you could very well start it at the beginning of the Flash's career, where he is just learning his powers, and then slowly, as he gets more attuned to his powers, you could upgrade that as the game goes along. You get more and more speed, because the whole thing about the Flash is that when he first started, he didn't tap into what's called the Speed Force. But when he gets more attuned with his powers, he gets more Speed Force power, which then makes him more fast. That's something you can implement into the game as well. Now, obviously, you've got the point of, well, if the Flash is going fucking 1,000 mile per hour down the road, he's going to whack into a car and just be a red stain. Now, that's obviously something that you'd need to work on. There could be a mechanic in place which allows you to slow down time. So if you're going very, very, very fast down the road and you see a car, you have the option to press the left trigger. That'll slow down time. You can do like a cool flip or something like that, and you can just keep on going. No distractions whatsoever. Combat could also be the same as well. There could be some form of a bullet time mechanic introduced as well, which allows you to slow down time. The Flash has different power sets as well, such as a tornado. He can make tornadoes with his arms because of how fast he can go. He can phase through objects. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. Black Widow shoots a gun. Looks sexy.
It's coming for me now. Whoa! You just brought it down to just being sexy and shooting a gun.
You didn't let me finish.
That's just brought down your argument entirely.
You didn't let me finish.
I feel like Black Widow could do a lot
Let me
more
finish.
than...
No.
Thank
Hang on.
you.
Shoots a gun. Looks sexy. Does have a dark past as well, which can be good for narrative purposes, and also can include a bunch of stealth action stuff as well. Incredible Hulk, we've seen it before in other games like Ultimate Destruction, the Incredible Hulk movie tie-in game. Big guy punches a bunch of stuff, throws rocks and stuff like that. It's
Your guy
interesting
runs.
and it's fun.
All right, let's not minimize
It's an exhilarating experience. Your guy is green, big, and punches things and goes rah. That's all he does.
You're
I-
minimalizing. I could just say your guys run fast. You're literally
That's
you were
what I'm.
saying.
Yeah.
You were
The
saying we
superheroes
could
are just
improve.
their power. So I just want to say right now that I think that the Hulk is a character that we all know, and he's not that successful. You know, I played Prototype. I know what it's like to be the Hulk. I enjoyed Prototype more than the Hulk experience. It's just never been my favorite. You know, I think the Flash, yeah, he goes really fast. He does all these cool things. There are so many things that are part of the Flash's character that just wouldn't be. I don't think would work in gameplay.
Like what?
Like time travel.
Well,
He can do that shit. If you make it part of a mission, yeah, but like he
I
can
mean,
just do
that could,
whatever the fuck
time
he wants
travel
to
wasn't
tries.
brought up, but that could be used narratively. I'll give them that. But I
Yeah.
also think
You wouldn't use it as a
the
gameplay
issue is
mechanic.
I don't think he could use it whenever the fuck he wants.
2.5
I think
minutes.
There's
No.
too much going
No,
on.
you can't.
Too much.
You can't use it as a
Do-
gameplay mechanic.
okay.
because
I want
that's
to
just
make a
broken.
big point. The big thing with Flash, and you also brought up with Superman, is I don't think their powers are unique enough to be able to spin you in a
Yes.
way of like movement or combat. The reason characters like Spider-Man work so well is because you
I
think
think
of
they're
so
overpowered.
many ways you can web sling around or do these really fun things. And like Flash, the best comparison I can give it is I know people love these games, but you know Gravity Rush? My concern with games like Gravity Rush is it kind of just feels like you're clicking on a destination and going to it. It's a really cool idea, but it feels like I'm not actually doing much from A to B. And that's what Flash would feel like. And then even though I'm going faster and faster, it doesn't really matter because I'm still just doing the same thing. Whereas characters like Hulk, I can uniquely move around and uniquely fight people in a way that doesn't just feel like punching people. I also feel like the game could change a lot. You know how in Spider-Man you would kind of go from the quick, fast-paced Spider-Man to quickly just being a normal person, which some people did like. I didn't hate them too much. You could have Bruce. You could have Bruce sections. You know,
Yeah.
you have these
They
sections.
did that already, though. They did that already. In the whole time game, they did that already.
Do it better.
People fucking hated it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Spider-Man as well.
I think there's a way to make it interesting, though.
There's
I
a
wanna
way
follow
to make
this
all
up.
of our ideas interesting. I'll be honest with you.
We're all
you could
like,
point.
I think Spider-Man is
I love all
like is one of the good ones. I think Superman and I think that the Flash are overpowered for their abilities. They're too much, you know. So like if we think about like Batman, the Arkham games. I really like the kind of detective mode. I like the kind of stealth moments. I enjoy how dark it is. Batman is just a guy who's rich, you know. Like Black Widow is kind of in a similar boat. She's not rich, but she's got so many skills, and so she's like kind of neck and neck with Batman for that kind of vibe, you know. So it's like, you know, you're saying that what has she got? She's only like sexy and shoots guns. Yeah, well, what has fucking Batman got? He's got money, you know. That's
Yeah,
it.
he's sexy.
I can imagine Black Widow combat
Yes.
being very gadgety.
Would that be fun as well? You know, because like I'm a big fan of like Rainbow Six Siege, right? And the gadgets are a huge part of what makes the combat really interesting and
So
planning ahead and
so
stuff.
you do something different to Arkham's free flow combat. You do something different than that. Because
Yeah,
that's
potentially.
when you said Black Widow, that's the first thing that came to mind.
You thought about the
I
free
was
flow.
going to
I
ask
think
this.
there's a
about free flow.
You
combination.
keep
5 seconds.
You reference a lot of games that are like first person. Mine's correct.
That's correct.
What?
All right, that's
Okay,
it.
5
That's it. 10 minutes is up. 10
What was I
minutes is up.
supposed to do?
I'm referencing other games, by the way.
Oh,
just
right,
simply- it's over, but
Yeah.
I'm referencing other games just simply
Yeah,
because
I
I'm
was
just
curious.
I-
You
I think
reference
it's-
a lot of first-person shooters, so I was
I'm
curious.
not a big
what you-
first-person shooter person, but I wouldn't make it a first person necessarily. But you know, you can. fucking
I was so lost at the end there. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
The
So
first
lost.
I think Rowan was
Like,
trying to give a
know-
point, and I said 5 seconds,
went,
and he was
"Mine's
just
right."
like, "Mine's correct," and then he stopped. For the future reference, you can finish your point. I'm just giving you
Scream
an
over
idea
us.
that, like,
Okay.
when I
Yeah,
say
I-
5
I-
seconds,
finish
you're
your
basically
point.
like,
I love
finish
that.
your point, but you're going to be
Finish your
the
point,
last
Rowan.
one, yeah. So
Can
you
you
can
give
finish.
me 5 more seconds?
What was one?
Okay. Woo. All right, come out swinging on
Guys,
this
we did
first
good.
one.
We did good. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a good
I
one.
enjoyed
That was a good
That was a
one.
good one.
You
I feel like
came
we
at me
all-
so hard. I was like, why are you coming for
Yeah.
me? Why are you coming for me? The Hulk is the weakest idea in my fucking
No,
opinion.
it's not. I think it's
Yes,
Sam.
it is.
Guys, the 10 minutes has expired.
I will say, I think
game
it's
fight
really
is over.
interesting. We all picked a very different.
Yes.
character
Oh my
that
god.
would all
I was
make a
so I was
different
very
choice.
happy about
Picked
that.
the movie
I was very
one.
happy about that.
Yeah.
So first of all, I have to say that nobody picking Superman is a poor decision, and you would have just had a free win. But I'm just gonna say, no bias, no bias. But
Also, I got an important question, right? How the fuck does Superman blow his load inside of Lois Lane without it like going straight through?
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. He's got a lot of self control.
Continue,
Anyway,
Ashton, continue.
all right. So argument wise, I think all three of you did a really, really good job of sort of painting a picture of what the game looked like. I thought I had a very good idea of what each game would look like and play like. I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that Nicole, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning, I remember you said Hitman after you had said Ubisoft, right? Did you mention, you said Ubisoft games at first?
Yeah, so I was saying kind of like Splinter Cell, and then I was like Hitman as well, because the Splinter Cell, the stealth thing is like, the stealth combat is crazy good.
Right.
But then Hitman has the targets.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Sam didn't like immediately go after you and say like, you don't even like Ubisoft games, so what are you talking about? That didn't happen. I'm shocked he didn't do that.
I want them to fix their rapport by making a good game.
That's
why
shook.
I mentioned Disney.
Impossible.
So I thought that was an easy jab, but no, it was missed. But either way, so in terms of arguments, I think that Nicole had a very, very strong beginning, because she talked about Nicole was the only one out of the three that gave me a clear narrative for it. Like she went to the Red Room, she went with trauma, and exploring that, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see how that started developing. Rowan, I don't know if it was just you didn't get a chance to or whatever, but I didn't get really a sense of like what the story of a Hulk game would be besides just like a sandbox, which
to be fair, I knew this kind of going into this, he wouldn't be very strong narratively. You've already decided on the answer, so I'm going to assume pointing out my weakness.
Yeah, fine. Anything said here is irrelevant.
Hulk smash, so that's pretty much all he does.
I thought yours was the weakest, Rowan, in terms of game, not because of your argument, because of who you chose.
But we're gonna get to Rowan in a second.
Yeah.
And it's Sam. You like kind of was almost there. You started talking about how you like Rowan was kind of helping you because y'all were talking about how you could use time travel as like a narrative point, but then like if somebody didn't know Flash and you just said that and there was no elaboration, I had no idea what that meant, like what narrative, you know what I mean? So it's like that couldn't really give you a point for that. It wasn't very clear. Also on Sam,
in my defense, sorry, I never actually mentioned the time travel thing. I said that
but since it was brought up, it is a big important part of Flash's like moves. A lot of his stories revolve around time travel. You mentioned specifically the movie, which is about time travel. So like in the general populace mind, it makes sense that people would think about it.
That's a free assist from us.
And even and in defense, even if that isn't part of it, right? If you take the time travel thing out because you didn't bring it up, you still didn't make an argument for what the story would be outside of that either, right? So it's kind of like I was missing that part. Also,
flash fast, run fast.
Run fast. Sam, you said that you could start slower, and then get faster as you go, and I was like, that's interesting. That's a weird.
I don't mean a gentle jog.
I was like, we're playing the Flash, and we're talking about going slower. What are we doing?
Just play the game where you jog around.
After a 70-year-old woman then gets like an Olympic sprinter level.
I did like your point about the time slow thing, because the question would always be like, okay, if you're playing the Flash, how do you not splatter yourself against like a car or something? Time slow makes a lot of sense.
It could be kind of like, guys remember Super Hot?
Yeah. That would have been a good poll. Didn't happen. But Rowan, you mentioned how sad you actually took. I thought it was super, super good. You took a what probably would be the strongest argument for Sam, which was traversal, right? Everybody likes to go fast. It feels good. That's why Sonic has existed for so long. But then you twisted it to your own and you said, well, actually, if you think about Prototype, jump in, climbing on buildings, ripping them apart as you're going, super strong argument. That was great.
Yeah. I love Prototype. So.
But ultimately, I think, and you also did a good job countering Sam's argument, where he was like, Sam mentioned how the Hulk would be very just generic, like smashy, and then you countered it pretty quickly, easily, and seemed like all these would be very generically, and then when you had more specifics about like, here's how it actually looked like. But I think the winner is going to have to be, based on the arguments, I'm going to give it to Nicole. And the reason for it is because all of you had a clear idea of what the game was going to be. Nicole had the strongest narrative element. Nicole also was able to most well-detailed bring up how the game would actually play. And she was able to counter Rowan by saying, because Rowan, you were focusing a lot on Prototype and like modeling your game after Prototype. And Nicole countered immediately with, I've already played Prototype. And that wasn't really fought against, probably because of time constraints, but So there was that, and then Rowan kind of countered Sam a lot, and I really liked the arguments about representation whenever she was asked about like Black Widow not being the most popular Avenger. She was like, well, this would be a chance to bring her into more light when she hasn't been able to give that opportunity, which I thought was a great response to the argument. So I'm going to give it to Nicole on this one for round one.
Yeah, I'll take that out. I think that was that was. I think it's a good point.
I think Nicole
about the
came out swinging really hard.
representation, honestly. Yeah.
Look, guys, I was genuinely sitting here going, so many fucking men in superhero things. I'm like, you know what? More Black Widow, more Black Widow. And
You know,
so,
Black Widow.
yeah.
Literally, I just want to say something before we move on as well.
Yeah.
Before I jumped on here, I actually did have a few of my friends around at my house, and I did mention these questions to him. And shout out to my friend Jason if he's watching. He said, "Howard the Duck in the style of Leisure Suit Larry."
Honestly,
Let's
I think
go.
you should have done that. If you'd done that, I would have been like, I'll take the L here, mate. I want to play that.
She would have been goated.
I want to apologize, Jason, because I should have taken it. He's
Jason
probably
should be on this podcast.
he did say where's the invite? So
For
That's
future
funny.
reference, to get all my points,
I gotta hear the end of it.
Sam, I feel like I didn't give you enough credit. You did have a really strong counter to Rowan. Rowan was talking about the human parts, like you can have like a Bruce Banner type level, but he didn't really describe what that was going to be. And you said everybody hates that shit anyway, so I was like, yeah, that's a fair argument. Immediately took that
Nothing
down.
worse than playing Insomniac Spider-Man. You're like, oh, Mary Jane's here, yay!
like,
I didn't
okay.
mind them. I'm gonna be real. That's maybe it's a hot
I
take.
genuinely
didn't mind
thought
the
I
Mary
was
Jane
going to
sections.
lose that in the middle.
Fine
I
in the
was like,
second one. They were okay in the second one. The first one, no.
Yeah.
So,
All
Anyway,
right.
I never played it myself. I watched other people play it, so.
It's boring.
All right. Now, Nicole's getting that first round point. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to round
Down,
number
half, and
2.
down.
If Nicole wins this round, then the third round would just be for like honor and pride. But if not, then we'll have our round 3. I do have a round 4 in case there's a 3-way tie, but we'll have to see if that ends up happening.
I just want to say
Not
something
again.
before we
I
go
know,
into
right?
this thing, which is that I'm not picking answers just because I'm a woman. It's just I think that I'm picking answers based on how well I can argue them, and because I have a vagina, I think I can argue some of them better.
You don't have to justify
The
picking
fact
a
you have
female
to
you don't have to
superhero.
justify picking out Black
You don't
Widow.
have
You
to
won.
justify.
It's okay.
No, it's the next question where I'm just like, guys, I'm not just doing the same thing every time.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Lara
Well, let's get
Croft.
into it.
Yeah,
Let's
I
go
was gonna
ahead
say, I
and
think it's
let's
Lara
go ahead and
Croft
get
then.
into it. Round 2. The question is, who is the most iconic video game character not named Mario or Sonic? And
Shall I
we're
go
going to go
first?
ahead and give Nicole the start here because I think she's ready. 2 minutes on the clock. Go ahead.
So I picked Lara Croft, obviously. I was really struggling for a while between like Master Chief, Alan Wake, and stuff, and then I was like, Master Chief's just big guy who shoots good with no personality. Alan Wake is too niche and too recent, so I was like, Lara Croft is quite the trendsetter for for multiple aspects of the gaming history. So Lara Croft is essentially kind of Indiana Jones, right? And she's a playable one. And unfortunately, in a lot of ways, but it's interesting the history around her. There was a lot of unfortunate history around her being very, very heavily sexualized. But they gave her giant triangular boobs, so like, what was going to happen? It's in a weird way, and I hate that it came out like this. But Lara Croft being a hot lady definitely brought more audience to it. And while having that kind of, to me, it's quite a negative way to attract people to playing games that are that have female leads. I do think that Lara Croft has managed to stand mostly the test of time. She's been rebooted a bajillion times, but people always want to jump back in to play her character. I do think that her first games in particular were huge trendsetters for the genre. Uncharted's Nathan Drake is very much inspired by Indiana Jones and Lara Croft. Obviously, you're going to pull from all that stuff because that was one of the earliest iterations in gaming for that kind of story. I think that the amount of times we've gone through Lara Croft and the different kind of stories that have been told have all been really, really fun. Archaeology and your tomb raiding is just a fun time. I think that her character has a lot of really fun and interesting history. I really enjoy all the drama that she's got with people based on her family history, and obviously she's got the mansion, all that wealth, all that history. I think it's really, really fun. I like diving into a relationship with her parents. I think it's super, super cool. She has so much more depth than other characters. So yeah, I think she's great. And the movies, and there are movies, and the movies, great time.
All right.
So.
All right, we'll go ahead and let Sam go next with his pick for the most iconic video game character not named Mario and Sonic. 2 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, I picked Sonic as well. I think we all did. So I basically thought myself, when you think about iconic video game characters, I think about anyone knows who they are. So Mario, easy to recognize, you know who he is. Sonic, you know what he is. He's a blue hedgehog, goes really fast. With that being said, Steve from Minecraft would be the next most iconic video game character. Everyone knows what Minecraft is. Everyone knows that there is one character that is associated with Minecraft everywhere you go, and that is Steve. And also, now that the movie has completely exploded, his popularity has only skyrocketed as well. As soon as you boot up Minecraft, default skin, Steve. It's easy to understand. He is a dude with a light blue shirt or a jumper and dark blue pants. That's all you need to know. Recognizable. When you're thinking about a mascot, Sega has Sonic. Sonic is a blue hedgehog. He has that recognizable look about him. Mario, red and blue plumber, has a recognizable look. Steve is the exact same for Minecraft as well. If I said to somebody who maybe doesn't even play video games, can you tell me the name of the person, name of the main character, or the default character in Minecraft, they would say his name. Other game characters only are referred to like Master Chief. Oh, that's the Halo guy. Oh, that's the Doom guy. You know? Steve, people know his name. It's one word, recognizable character. That's why I think he's the most iconic one after the big two.
All right. Rowan, 2 minutes on the clock.
So I thought if we wanted an icon and recognizability, they have had to have done something for video games, but also, just like Sam said, I think every single generation and people not included in video games needs to know of them. And that's why I chose Pac-Man, the little adorable Waka Waka. I love him very much. I think he's great. And the statistics on this man is crazy. I've done my stats, I've done my research. This man's 400,000 arcade cabinets were sold of him. He was he did the best. That's sourced by Statista. And he's considered what revolutionized the PC, the player character. He's literally considered what created those games like Mario. He's considered the thing that was the big turning point from shooters in the arcade. His recognizability is huge. Think about how many times he's been referenced countlessly in different mediums than just video games. He's everywhere. And the main thing I think you could say about this is, well, maybe modern generation doesn't know him, like the modern young kids. But he's in Fortnite. He's everywhere. I generally don't think you can go anywhere without seeing Pac-Man referenced. And that's why I just think he's an icon and everyone knows him.
Pac-Man earrings, yeah.
Wow.
That's all I've got.
He's in Fortnite?
He's in Fortnite. He's back bling.
You just taught Ashton something. You got an immediate point.
Oh, he's a backpack.
Is Minecraft Steve in Fortnite?
I wouldn't know.
I think Lara Croft.
Is Tomb Raider in Fortnite?
time to bust up the Google here, Sam. Well, you have the chance. Nicole, you might want to too. I don't know.
No, you know what? I
10 minutes on the clock. Go.
Pull that card. Okay, I'm gonna go first immediately, just because I want to say something. I think that the Steve idea is shit. I think the Pac-Man idea is actually all right.
Oh my
God.
God.
Right, so Steve, right? Who gives a shit? Right. So can I just say, the first picture that comes into my head when I play Minecraft, because I don't really look at myself. I'm in first person when I'm playing Minecraft. I don't really look at Steve. The first thing I do, his blue shirt and blue trousers, the first thing I do is put fucking armor over that. Because how am I supposed to fight stuff when I get down into the depths of Minecraft? Absolutely not. Shut up.
This is
also,
just to add more to that point, I'll let you talk.
Please.
I feel like people know Minecraft. I feel like people don't know Steve. For fuck's sake, the game's called Minecraft.
Are more iconic.
Pac-Man's called Pac-Man. Lara Croft is called Lara Croft. Minecraft's called Minecraft, not Steve. I think people know Minecraft, but they don't know Steve necessarily.
I think people might know Steve a bit more now because of
Lara Croft's got called Lara Croft. It's Tomb Raider.
I'm
It's actually
stupid.
called Lara Croft, Tomb Raider Lara Croft, or Lara Croft. Tomb
Maybe
Raider,
I'm not
depending on which ones you
stupid.
go
Wait,
for.
Why
which
am I
one?
dissing
Which
myself?
installment says Lara Croft Tomb Raider?
There are so many installments. I think that's my fucking point
I
here.
could have
Minecraft is
sworn.
one
Okay, no,
installment.
Maybe
Name
I'm
one.
just silly, but
No,
Name
two
one.
installments.
Name one.
Name,
Name one.
name, a,
Manipulation
name a Lara Croft
strategy.
game. Name a Lara
No,
Croft game.
no. Name
No one.
name a Tomb Raider game that says Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Lara Croft's Tomb Raider Legend, Lara Croft's Tomb Raider Anniversary, Lara Croft's Tomb Raider Underworld.
Right.
Shut the fuck
Which
up.
one out of Lara Croft and Tomb Raider is bigger?
She is
Tomb
the
Raider.
Tomb Raider.
I'm looking at the
She
titles
is
now. A lot
the
of them,
Tomb
yeah.
Raider.
A
I'm
lot of
gonna,
them do
I'm
just
gonna say
Tomb
something.
Raider
I'm
Lara.
gonna say something about
Steve isn't
Nicole's,
the
about
Minecraft.
Nicole's thing. I'm gonna say something about
Minecraft's
Nicole's thing.
creepers.
You say that Lara Croft is a playable Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Indiana Jones is already playable. What makes her different?
Indiana Jones is only recently playable. I
No,
think
no,
so.
no, no.
What makes her
There
different?
are other Indiana Jones games besides the one that Bethesda release. There are
Yes,
other games.
and do we remember them? They're not really that big in the stratosphere of gaming, so they got lost to time. While Tomb Raider has been
Necessarily.
a huge staple of game. Not necessarily. I can't even name it. Wait, hold on.
Indiana
Sam,
Jones and the Staff of Kings.
Great, right. Anybody else? Can you name me an Indiana Jones game that didn't just come out?
How
Thank
didn't
you.
just come out? That was on PSP.
I mean,
PSP? No, I'm not saying that one. I'm saying the new the fucking whatever the fuck it was called. What was
You
that
don't
one
even-
called? Golden Circle or some bollocks? I don't know. That was Kingsman.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, though. You're the only one that remembers an Indiana Jones game existing, right? While these other two guys don't even know what the fuck.
I'm
the
not
other ones are
here.
called.
I'm not here.
Yeah,
Pretend
you're
I'm
not
not
here.
I will
Sorry,
say
sorry.
that I think
Who are
the
you?
thing about Lara Croft is she has huge recognizability. I mean, she
Yeah.
was. I mean, once again, I hate to reference it because it sucks that the woman
Yes.
character was brought down to her sexuality, but
Yes.
she was on magazine covers that had
Yes.
nothing to do with video games. She
Mhm.
can be recognized people outside the video game atmosphere, but I don't exactly think that makes her
And she-
iconic for video games. She's recognizable, but I wouldn't say she's exactly got the iconic level as a character like Pac-Man, who was kind of
Yeah.
seen as a star for just changing stuff.
I want to
just
say
being huge.
something about that. So what I want to say about Tomb Raider. So Pac-Man is a staple in gaming, right? But so is Tomb Raider. Steve is not. Pac-Man doesn't really have much else going on except he goes waka waka and eats things, and then maybe sometimes he can retaliate against the ghosts, right?
Yeah,
Steve is just the playable character. He's just a vessel for players to inhabit. He's not iconic. A creeper is more iconic than that, right? Because you actually see the creeper, you don't really look at yourself. While Tomb Raider has
You can.
backstories. Tomb Raider has backstories, personality, fantastic music, fantastic level design, the combat. You know, she's got entire movie deals going on around her. You know,
Which
there's
Tomb
still
Raider?
deals being made today.
Which Tomb Raider are we talking about? We talk about the classic one or the rebooted one? Because if you think about it, they're two completely different.
No,
you're-
actually,
hold on.
I-
You're
okay,
fixating
I would-
on classic and reboot. What about the middle ground, the 360 era? That was fantastic. That was actually every
I
time
would
they
say
rebooted
that-
it.
Well, this is the thing. I was actually wanting to. You were saying about how Pac-Man doesn't do much. This is something I considered. This is the issue with Pac-Man. Unlike characters like Mario or Lara Croft, he doesn't have a strong reinvention in modern
Mhm.
times. And it might sound like I'm saying that as a downside, but I honestly think Pac-Man just started at the top, and there's no way for him to really go higher. I don't think you
So,
can improve on it
I see
because
what
he's
you
just
mean.
so well known that
But
you
the thing
can't
is,
change
with
that formula.
with Pac-Man, what I see with him is that it's not that he's already hit the highest. It's that he existed in a time where that was the best you could do, and then it's such a simple game and concept that you can't really do much else with Pac-Man in the modern era. There's nothing else you can really do with it. You know, while
I
Tomb
agree with
Raider
that.
can be reinvented a lot, they could try and reinvent Pac-Man, but what the fuck is the story going to be? While
I
Tomb
agree with
Raider's
that.
reinvention is fantastic, and I think that despite Pac-Man being an iconic staple, people don't really play his games. He's not really coming back and doing anything else. He's just kind of there. And you mentioned it earlier how the current generations are like kind of they don't really know Pac-Man like we all do. You know, it's kind of slowly fading. It may have some might be included in some other things like Fortnite, etc. But it's not really he's not being recognized for what he is. You know, he's being just slapped into Fortnite, which is not his. And then Steve, I mean, what the fuck is Steve doing? It's just
I
nothing.
think Lara Croft over time, even though that there have been reboots which have been successful, she's kind of been a character that's been lost over time in my eyes.
But
Now,
this is
me as someone who's been born in the 90s and growing up in the early 2000s, I obviously know who that character is.
Yes.
However, there's going to be some other people out there that will look at that character and think, who is that? Because the relevancy of Tomb Raider, even though that there are the rebooted stuff and the movies and stuff like that, it's not been as successful as it was initially. It's failed to
So you
keep
could
that
say the
momentum
same about
alive.
Minecraft, and you could say the same
Absolutely
about
not.
Pac-Man to a degree.
This is
So
the thing.
Minecraft
I'd say
is
the
one
same.
of the most successful games of all time. Actually, I think it is the most successful games of all
yes,
time.
Minecraft,
Yes.
not Steve.
Not Steve.
Not Steve.
Yeah.
No,
That's what
but
I meant.
he-
Not
But
Steve.
this is the thing though. You're talking about the
Everywhere.
popularity of the games and how well they're doing. We're not talking about how
Yeah.
good these games are. We're talking about how iconic the character is. And
I think if
that,
someone showed a lineup of like Pac-Man, Steve, and Tomb Raider and went name these people to different generations, I think people would get Pac-Man and people would get Tomb Raider and they'd go, "Who the fuck is that?" to Steve. So
No, I disagree. Especially considering the fact that every single Minecraft material is there. He's there, right
No.
slap bang
Is
on
he?
there. Yes,
he's on the
absolutely.
cover.
All I
he's
have
on
done
the-
is I've gone into I up this.
But
is-
how do
doesn't
you know
cheating.
his name's Steve without?
Yeah.
You just see him as
It's in the game. It's
dude on
in the
cover.
game. No,
Yeah,
it's
no,
in-
you have to
it's
like
in
change the
My
skins.
the
of the
Steve
game.
has
Steve.
my gamer tag over it when people like
I
when I
mean,
play with people.
he's a skin. He's a skin. That's all he
I
is.
didn't
in
know he was even
the
called Steve
game.
until like, the last few years because I never paid attention because I don't give a shit. I'm inhabiting a blank slate of a character. He's more blank slate than Master Chief. You should have gone for Master Chief. You might have won this.
No,
I wouldn't go
no,
Master Chief. I don't think Master
Yeah.
Chief could win this.
no. I don't think Master Chief could win it either.
I mean, I don't actually think that.
I don't fucking
think
think
I
Lara
Master Chief
Croft could
because your
win it
idea is
either.
that bad. I
This is
think
the
that
thing.
Lara Croft is an icon. I think she. I do think that she is so
Icon my
important,
arse.
and she, to me, right, growing up, I had a character that I could look at that was a woman. She was sexualized, which did bug me, but I never saw her that way. I saw her through a lens of look how badass she is, look how awesome she is. I want to be able to be like her. I want to have her kind of attitude. I want to be able to have the skills that she has. I can't. But I can inhabit her character and feel powerful and feel like, I don't have to be a superhero, but I can be badass and just be a person, I could live that dream through her character. And I think that her character inspired so many young women. And I think that's super, super important and super iconic, So maybe
Well-
you guys haven't experienced that to that level, but I have. And I do think that she is incredibly inspirational. And Angelina Jolie played her in the fucking movies. And you know what? They're a
Forgive me
good
for
time.
being ignorant. Forgive me for being ignorant, right? But it sounds like with all the other characters around Lara Croft's era, and maybe a couple years afterwards as well, was there no other characters that made you feel like that, or that you could connect on that level, or was it just specifically Lara Croft?
I mean, was
Lara
there any
Croft was-
other
so I
strong
didn't-
female protagonists back then?
I
too?
didn't
Not even
have-
female.
exactly.
Not even female.
So,
But
no.
I think modern day
it's
Lara
huge.
Croft is very empowering, and that is
Yes.
quite icon behavior. But
I found her
also
empowering in every
Pac-Man.
generation I played.
Like-
I want it noted as well that you're saying that I didn't have money to be able to afford games. I managed to pick up Tomb Raider off of a friend who happened to be going through it, and I played it when I was about I think 7 or 8, and it really changed my opinion on how I wanted to be as a woman. I was really into just that kind of badass kind of character who could do all these things. I grew up watching Indiana Jones, and he's iconic, yeah, but he's like a man who's going around womanizing and then tomb raiding, while like Tomb Raider. She's a hot woman, but she's not going around, like being an overtly sexual character with people. She's a hot lady who's going to be like, look, I'm really hot, and I'm gonna accept that I'm hot, but the actual reason I'm here is for archaeology and tomb raiding because that's my vibe. And I like that, she uses what she has and she uses it well, and it's just such a wonderful thing to see. I'm so used to playing as men that playing as a woman was just so important, and I think that she really inspired a lot of generations of women. And that's that.
Time's almost up. I'm gonna put 1 minute on the clock, and we'll let Sam get a little bit more in here, and then I'm gonna put another minute on the clock and let Rowan get a final word in here, and then we'll get to the results. So, Sam, you can go ahead and start with 1 minute real quick. Get some final words.
To be fair, we've all made good points. I just personally think for myself, if you're talking about people who maybe don't play video games that well, if we're talking about iconic characters that are on the same level as Mario and Sonic, Lara Croft, Pac-Man, they're not going to cut it. But I think Steve does cut it. I think that everything that I've mentioned everything that I've talked about the character makes him stand amongst Mario and Sonic. And that's all I really got to say. But whoever wins, I mean, fair enough.
All right. Rowan, you got a minute.
Well, so to get to my conclusion, I made golden rules of what should make a character well-known, iconic, and some of these golden rules were they have to be an OG character because they have to be known for a long time. They have to have done something for the gaming community. They must have like changed, I mean, just anything. They must be referenced in other forms of media, and they also must have content outside of their original medium, outside of video games, like movies, cartoons, or just spin-off games like that. And like, I just think Pac-Man follows all of these perfectly.
All right. Woo! Round over. Ding ding bell sound.
That was hard.
That was hard. That was hard. I have
I
a lot of
hate
notes
pulling
here.
the feminism card, but I had to. I was backed into a corner and I had to do it.
Okay. So, if I'm going off the arguments here, so gosh, I have so many notes here. I have so many notes. All right. I want to start with talk about Sam a little bit here. Sam, initial point, super strong. Everybody knows what Minecraft is. That's a given, right? I think that's a good point to start with. The movie being so recent, huge boost, right? Like you mentioned that it boosts his recognizability immediately. So I thought that made a lot of sense. I gave you points for that. And then, oops, I put that there wrong. And then Sam, also you went at Lara Croft. You said that the different Lara Crofts are too different, right? You kind of
Americans
mentioned
like
the whole
Laura.
like the different versions kind of work against Lara Croft, which I thought was a good argument as well against Nicole's there. And then Nicole, I do think obviously the woman representation is strong. However, I think that there was a stronger argument you could have made, right? I was kind of waiting. You did the lineup thing, right? You said the Pac-Man, the Lara Croft, and the Steve, and you said they could point out two, but not Steve. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, there's an argument here that you could have made that was a lot stronger, which was when Sam had been asking you to name different like Tomb Raider games that have Lara Croft's name in it or whatever. I referenced that back and I was like, Nicole could try to get these guys by saying name other female characters from this time period. And they'd probably be pretty hard. Or if they could, then that's a little risky because if they did name a really iconic female character, it'd be kind of worked against you. But
I was struggling because I didn't really have any other answers. I grew up with Tomb Raider. I could say Cortana, but she wasn't playable. So that was the yeah.
Right. So that's what I mean is like it kind of would have helped your argument, but it wasn't.
I didn't want.
It wasn't there. It wasn't there. I do think that the standing the test of time makes sense. You referenced a newer game, Uncharted, that takes inspiration from Lara Croft, which was really strong. But I think the winner of this round is gonna be Rowan. Because
as soon as you said Pac-Man, I was like, it's Rowan. He's got it.
And it's not because Pac-Man, but he did make some great arguments. First of all, he came at Sam by saying people know Minecraft, not Steve. And then I believe it was Nicole that piggybacked off that and said people know creepers more than Steve. And when you think about it, if you ever see a Minecraft sticker, a Minecraft hoodie, whatever it may be, it's a creeper. It's not Steve. That was a very strong point right there. But then, ironically enough, Rowan's point that it's literally the name of his fucking game. It's Pac-Man. Lara Croft, you kind of got bogged down on the trying to figure out if Lara Croft was like actually in the front of the title or not.
I tripped up there. I think
Minecraft's not. I thought that was really good.
I got a bit tripped up because it's Tomb Raider because it is her. It's just not.
It's not. It's like it's not Nathan Drake's Uncharted. It's just Uncharted. You know what I mean? We got bogged down there a little bit, and just having the name be Pac-Man is Pac-Man makes sense. And then you also said, let's see, you did help Nicole a little bit by being like, oh, she was on a lot of magazine covers, and I was like, that's a point for her. You were like, that's not really recognized, but I was like, no, I think it is. I think it is. But you also you kind of
the competition.
You kind of unfortunately, I feel like you kind of ended Sam there when you said he's a skin, like Steve is a skin, not a full character. Where do you see his name in the game? And like I didn't get a good response there of where his name actually does pop up and stuff like that. So I think for this one, it's got to be Rowan. I think he made really good arguments against both of you, and
you said
he boosted his
Pac-Man
own
and my
his
brain
own argument.
was like, I'm fucked. We've lost this.
I remember Ashton, you said Pikachu.
I did. I
And I'm
DM'd you and said
amazed no
Pikachu
one
is an
said
option.
that. Yeah, I'm amazed no one picked Pikachu.
I'm
'cause I
shocked
thought,
nobody
like,
said
I
Master
hope-
Chief. Like y'all kind of had like
I
your
was gonna
reasons
say
to not
Master
do it.
Chief, and then I didn't because he's so fucking bland.
He's
He's
iconic,
nothing.
but I
But
just
like,
feel
so
not
is
everyone would know
Pac-Man.
him.
See, like we had Pac-Man, and that one. I feel like there was an argument you could make for Master Chief here, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with the
The
Master
thing
Chief
is-
is like people call him like that guy
The Halo
in
guy.
memes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
don't know
mean,
his
I don't know.
name.
There's an argument there. It's interesting.
Sam, how did you come up with Steve very quickly as your backup?
Yeah, I thought
Because,
that one
like,
was
that's-
interesting. I thought that one
that was a
one
very
was
good
like
choice.
not a.
I
It wasn't a bad
thought-
choice.
I was thinking Steve too, but then I
Kind of what I said in my argument as well. Like I was thinking, if I was to go and ask someone who doesn't play video games at all to name me a video game character, the first two would be Mario and Sonic. But then who would the third one be? Who's the most like recognizable one who's next
picked
in
Steve.
line? Yeah. So I thought Minecraft is huge. The movie's boosted its popularity. Loads of people know who Steve is thanks to the movie.
That guy Jack Black.
That's how I
I think Rowan, for future reference, I'm kind of helping you out a little bit here, even though you won. There was on that point, I feel like there was an argument you could have made about grandmas. Just funny enough, like if you put a grandma in front of these guys,
yeah.
like
Ashton,
the Halo
I
guy
was
thing, like they would say Pac-Man. Pac-Man is that's the
I
name.
lived with my grandmother. Do you know how close I was to going into the next room, getting my grandmother coming in here and going, "Who's that?" And, you know,
Collusion.
and
That'd be
getting her to
collusion.
go.
I don't know.
I was
Impermissible.
generally- That's what I think. I was trying to make that point across.
Here, guys.
Oh
I think
shit.
Pac-Man's multi-generational. People just know him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that would have been,
We
but it
can
didn't
ask my
happen. But
grandmother
your
after
your other
and
arguments were
see.
good enough to do it. But I was like
can hear
that
me?
could have been a good one. That could have been a good one.
Hold on. Nothing. I need you
My
later.
grandma.
Don't worry about it. She can hear me. She's asking what I'm saying about her.
Did you mute your microphone?
Yes,
Like,
very quickly because I was
you
screaming.
didn't.
You didn't do
it on
anything. You
Discord.
You did not. You did not.
It didn't do it. It didn't
Nope.
do anything, man.
That's quite funny.
All right. Well,
Yep.
we're at 1-1. Sam, you have an opportunity to force a round 4 if you get this one, or it'll be between Nicole and Rowan if they get the point. So the last
I will
one.
say, I feel like Rowan's come in here with a disadvantage, but he's managed to pull it back. So because you haven't
Got
done
that
this
last
before, so-
point. Got that last point.
Yeah, good job.
So we're on the last round here, barring a round 4, and it's another interesting one. So round 3, the question is, what is the best controller of all time? As far as I'm aware, if we're sticking with what you guys sent me originally, we all have different answers here. So Rowan, you won the last round. You go ahead and start us off with 2 minutes on the clock. What is the best controller of all time?
So I really struggled to think about this one because I think this is insanely like everyone's going to have different feelings on this. I tried to go with the PS4 DualShock. I have a. It's the only controller in modern time where I feel like its shape is so slim that it fits really easily into my hand. But also, I was thinking of going with the modern Xbox controller. I can't remember what it's called. But I just feel like I really hate modern day D-pads that aren't just direct arrows as someone who plays a lot of fighting games. I've never been someone to stick sticks or anything like that, like proper. So I just love the DualShock because I think it's very versatile in being able to be used for fighting games in just any genre really. I chose the PS4 because I prefer shape over PS5. I really appreciate my thumbsticks being on the lower side of the controller. I really dislike how on some controllers the thumbstick on the right is on further up. I think that's weird. I don't get that. But yeah, I don't think controllers need these funky gadgets that a lot of them have nowadays. The PS5 has really good vibration. The triggers are kind of it's fun. Like the triggers resist on the PS5 DualShock, which is nice. But I just don't think those things are necessary. And then, they ramp up prices as well. I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, I just went PS4 DualShock. I just went with the simple plane.
All right. Nicole, 2 minutes.
I went first last time. Can Sam do it?
Whatever, doesn't
I'm
matter.
still thinking.
Whoever wants
Sounds
to. You scared to make an
I'm-
argument?
Yes, I'm thinking. Give me a second. I'm trying to
Oh
figure it
my god.
I'd like to go last.
out. I'm already
Nicole,
thinking
you gotta
last
go.
one.
You have a
Okay.
point. Go.
Fuck me. Okay, fine. I'm going for the Xbox Elite controller. So the reason I'm going for the Xbox Elite controller, I was debating 360 and Xbox One for a minute, and then I went for Elite. So the Elite controller.
That would be Xbox One, correct?
Well, it's so that's the great thing about the Xbox controllers, the newer ones, is that the Xbox One controller works on the Series X/S. So you can call it that, but it's just the current Xbox Elite controller. So it's an Xbox Elite 2, I believe is the most current one. So what I love about the Xbox Elite 2 controller is that you can change the buttons according to what you need from the game that you're playing. So you can go onto your Xbox settings and you can change how your different buttons work. I should have brought my controller in. You have different paddles that you can apply. You can change how the D-pad is, and you can change the sensitivity of different things like the thumbsticks and the triggers, and you can change how much you have to press down on the buttons on the screen and also on the controller itself, so that you can start shooting faster. I use it for playing things like Rainbow Six Siege, where I need fast reaction times, and pressing all the way down on my right trigger takes too long when I need to shoot sometimes. So I get that bit of delay where I don't headshot the guy fast enough and he gets me first. So by having an Elite controller, it means I have that extra efficient little bit of speed where I don't have to press all the way down. I don't really need fancy smancy kind of like other elements to it. It's a basic ass controller where some of the buttons are improved a little bit. I find like just the classic rumble of the controller is good enough for me. You know, it gives decent feedback. I enjoy it. It's also got rubberized grips on it. I also feel that the Xbox style of controller began with the smaller original Xbox controller and then went into the 360 generation, and they haven't really changed how the controller is very much. The main buttons, the main like size of the controller has stayed relatively the same. It's just kind of changed its smoothness. Like it used to be a little bit rounder and now it's just a little bit flatter and smoother. And so I think that it's just a great controller that stood the test of time.
All right, Sam, 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay, I like to think outside the box when I'm thinking about controllers. I'm a PS guy. I do like my DualSense. I do like my DualShock 4. I was an Xbox guy. Xbox do have some pretty decent controllers, but I think the Nintendo Wii is the best controller that we've had. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Motion controls. I think personally that the motion controls were the best with the Nintendo Wii. You tried PlayStation Move. You tried all the other ones like Kinect with all the motion controls, and they've not reached the success of the Wii, as far as I'm concerned. And plus, as well, the Wii has like different kinds of functions with its controller. Like, yeah, if you want to play something like Wii Sports, then you just need to have that one controller in your hand. You can just go ahead with it. But if you want to play something like maybe Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, which is the best version of Resident Evil 4, then just put that nunchuck in, and you got a completely different experience there. There's different kinds of games that you can get on the Wii as well, which utilize the motion controls. And I just personally believe that it's the most unique controller out of all the three that we've picked. And that is my turn done.
All right, free for all time. 10 minutes. Enter into your combat. Whoever wants to jump in.
I probably shouldn't do this, but Sam, you cooked. Like,
No.
I cooked, or I am cooked.
I think Sam
cooked.
picks the most unhinged answers.
I remember playing. The only thing to call that out is the biggest issue I think with the Wii controller was I think developers kind of leaned into it too hard at times, and that ruined the games that they were making. That sounds really specific, but one I'm going for is I remember as a kid loving Sonic Unleashed, but I had the Wii edition. And in that game, you specifically have to shake the controllers to do your attacks compared to the Xbox editions where you just need to like press the buttons. And that sucked.
The controllers are pretty good. Yeah.
Also, I got it wrong. It's the left thumbstick that tends to be higher up.
I did question it for a second. Yeah.
But also, I just Googled the Xbox Elite controller. This thing is so expensive. I would never buy this.
That's one thing that I pointed out.
That's the thing.
Absurdity.
So, what I will say about the Elite controller, the reason I've gone for it is because I do think that it's worth the investment. I do think if you're that kind of gamer, then you can go for it. The thing is that the standard Xbox controller is great. You know, this just adds a little bit of tastiness to it. You know, what I will say that I love about it is that the amount of things that you can do to it in order to adapt to your play style is really, really great. You know, like the amount of like I have different settings that I set it to according to what game I'm playing, and there's a little switch on the back of your controller that you can change it to. But you can go onto the deep settings on the actual Xbox screen and really futz with it. One of my favorite aspects of the Elite controller as well is that, and Microsoft's really great for doing this, is disabilities. So a lot of people who have disabilities, they might have missing fingers, or they might have, you know, something along those lines. And so they can kind of adapt. There are lots of adaptive controllers that the Xbox does, but the Elite controller can work for some people really, really well. And I think that, say somebody is missing stuff on this hand, like one of their fingers or their thumb or something, or some skin somewhere here, and they can't press all the buttons they need to on one side, they can adapt the controller and get more buttons. There are paddles you can attach onto the back that can help people who can only play with one hand, you know. And so there are so many great ways that Xbox has considered, and it can be very pricey, but also with people who have disabilities, I believe that there are some charitable ways for them to be able to obtain controllers that can help them game, and I think that's really beautiful, and I think that Microsoft's done a really good job doubling down on that. So,
But it's still $159.99.
yeah, but there are discounts, you know, the sales come through, and there are charity events where people get given these controllers in order to help them play games. You know, you'll say the standard person who doesn't have a disability, who wants to go that extra mile, can pay that money if they want to. You don't have to, it's a choice, you know?
So you're saying that
And
the
it's
only reason why this
compatible.
controller is the only reason why you're saying this controller is the best is because it gives accessibility. That's it.
I'm not saying it's the
I
best,
think
I'm
it's
saying it's accessibility on different levels for different people, adaptive play styles, and it can help people who have disabilities enjoy gaming their way.
Right, but the
think-
question is, what is the best controller of all time?
And
I also
and
think
I-
the issue of the disability argument is I feel like if you're specifically going for a controller like to help with disability, you'd probably go to a third-party controller. I guess I'm not an expert on the air, but
Microsoft has different controllers that help people with different disabilities, and there are different ways you can get that sorted out. I don't have a
I feel
disability
like
myself,
yeah.
but I've watched a lot of videos on it, and it's really fun. But no, the reason I'm saying it's one of the greatest controllers of all time is that controllers throughout history are really restricting in their own ways. The original Xbox controller is a Duke controller. It is really thick. You can't really hold it. You know, as a child, I couldn't really play with it. You know, I feel like the controllers back in the day, especially, and just throughout generations in general, you have it's only for people who have fully functioning hands, who can just and of like certain sizes as well of hands. Some controllers are too big for people, some controllers are too small for people, you know, while having a controller that's adaptable in so many ways can kind of, it's like one size fits all, to not all but like a lot almost, you know. And it's like, and then there are other controllers that are there for other people, but controllers in general, you know, they used to be built for men. I hate making so many arguments about feminism, but they used to be built more for men, which is why the Duke controller was so fucking massive. So to have the adapting to a smaller, more comfortable controller, and I like the way my thumb sits with the right hand. It just sits really comfortably. You know, like I don't like how the PlayStation feels. It's very much like it's always been. I kind of have to put my thumbs inwards. I like just holding it and relaxing. And I think that the Xbox hasn't really had to change its design because it's so comfortable and it's been good all this time. I think the Wii remote controller is very fun and gimmicky, but it was a gimmick that, you know, the Joy-Con still kind of is kind of carrying that forward, but not to the same degree that it used to be. And the PlayStation controller, they had to adapt a little bit from what they used to be, because I did not like the way that felt before. Now, yeah, it's better, but I don't think that it has the same level of adaptability and that you can have with the Xbox Elite. And it is pricey, but if you want to pay for it, you can. And if you have some sort of disability, then you can get it through other means. So no one else is arguing.
I honestly I don't know what to say about my PS4 DualShock.
What?
I just like it.
You're supposed to
What are we
fight.
doing? What are we doing here?
Right. It's generally I just like I've just been blown away by the Wii, and I want to hear more about it from Sam.
The Wii?
Yeah, I think the Wii controller was
You know
really
what? Yeah,
good
Sam.
pick.
Defend the Wii and let's see what you do. Come on. You've gone silent. What else can you say about it? Have you blown your load immediately?
Always do. I like thinking outside the box, like I said.
I feel like
I'm
it's a silly answer and that's it.
when I'm thinking about like what is the best controller, like obviously you've got a standard controller, it sits in your hands, nice and comfortable, press a bunch of buttons. I think the Wii did something really, really incredible, and it deserves to be recognized for it. There was a huge trend with motion controls from all the big three. Microsoft had Kinect, Sony had PlayStation Move. Kinect can just get to fuck. It was a terrible piece of equipment.
Am I arguing the Kinect? No, I'm arguing a controller that people can physically hold. So don't shit on the Kinect or whatever the fuck PlayStation had. All right, that is not the argument we're having right now. You're arguing
Okay.
for a controller.
Okay, but I'm getting to that point. That's the thing.
Good.
Getting to that point. Kinect is still shit. PlayStation Move never really
It
took
is.
off.
I agree.
PlayStation Move never really took off in the first place. PlayStation Move, whatever. The Wii was the one that was the biggest standout. Maybe it was the content that it had, or maybe it was the controller. The motion controls were the best that were on offer. However, they understood that there was people out there that did not prefer the motion controls. Now, obviously, it's paramount to the system. That's what it's primarily designed for. But there are games out there, like I mentioned Resident Evil 4 earlier, that do utilize a traditional analog function and the motion controls to provide a unique experience. You're not going to find that on an Xbox Elite 159 whatever controller or a DualShock 4. The DualShock 4 does have the motion controls. I don't feel like that they utilize that to the full function. They utilize the touchpad a lot more than the motion controls. Now, obviously, it depends what kind of gamer you are. If you prefer something in your hands, if you prefer something like this, where it just sits in your hands nicely and you just press a bunch of buttons, that's up to you. That's fine. But if you're looking for something that provides a unique experience, the Wii offers that. And I believe that the Wii provided the motion control fad in the late 2000s. I think that they did that the best, and the controller definitely deserves. The controller definitely deserves to be recognized for that, for having the smoothest controls.
I guess that is the issue of with recognizing that it was great, but the greatest of all time. Like I feel like for my generic uses, I guess the Wii doesn't actually do that well with them. Like if
what does the DualShock 4 do differently? What makes the DualShock 4 stand out to you?
I just feel like it's a good jack of all trades. That's genuinely the strongest base.
I feel like it's a good jack of all trades that followed the thickness of the Xbox 360 controller and
but this
now
does
Xbox
it
Elite
better.
in order to be
But
comfortable.
I'm talking about the PS4 specifically.
But this does everything that the PS4 controller
that
does
one's better.
This one does it much better. You've also mentioned the adaptive triggers as well. The adaptive triggers are only on PS5 games and they can be turned off. There is stuff in the settings which does have the option to do that. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I think they're shit, quite frankly. But there's the option there for you to turn it off. If you're talking about PS4, I love the PS4 controller. Don't get me wrong. I really do. This, though, is everything in the PS4 controller, but better. With more functions.
I also want to follow up as well and just say you're talking about the gaming here. So Rowan's controller and my controller are for just general gaming. You can play most games with these controllers, And the great thing is that the Xbox controller, you can just hook it up to your computer and just go ham with that. You can play it with PC as well. Wii controller is just for the Wii. And the thing with the Wii controller is that, you made the argument earlier, Rowan, is that you can't really play some games properly. Some games, yes, they're built for it, but it's mainly for gimmicky games and party games like Mario Party and Mario Kart and stuff like that, So it's not.
Were they not good?
Sports. Those were good, yeah, but not like, World at War.
And time. Okay, 10 minutes up. Man, I feel like
it wasn't War on the Wii.
I struggled.
Let me give my personal opinion is I think all of these answers are terrible. Terrible answers. I would have picked something else. I probably would have picked DualSense. I probably would have said that. And when
maybe I should have.
When Rowan was coming to me with his and he said DualShock 4, I was like, okay, because like DualSense is right there, but he didn't go for it.
This is the thing. I know argument-wise, mine wasn't good. But it's generally my favorite controller, and that's a bit.
The problem. We'll start. Hold on. We'll start with Rowan here because that was the problem. I get that it's your favorite, but you never made an argument of why it's your favorite. That's all I needed to hear is like, why is it your favorite? But you just kind of said it feel good. And it was like, that's not really like working.
Points. I think it's because I made all my points in the first 2 minutes.
Maybe.
Of my intro.
You actually, the D-pad thing I wrote down as a good point, because that is a distinction from the other controllers here, is the individual buttons. I get that. Oh god, so unfortunately, Rowan, I think you recognize this. You're kind of out of the running on this one. So it comes down to Nicole and Sam, and obviously Sam picked a crazy option. Crazy option.
I love it. Unhinged.
I'm going all out.
I love it, Sam. Honestly, your energy is great.
Both of y'all had some good points. Obviously, Nicole came with the disability accessibility thing, which is important, and it's important to recognize. And plus, Nicole did bring up all the different like things that you can do with it in terms of like changing even individual buttons if you're just like a hardcore gamer and stuff. So there's an argument there for that kind of thing. Sam, I love the argument of it is out of all of the motion control stuff we've had, Wii still is the only one that's kind of stood out and stand the test of time. I like that. Rowan did hit you with it hampered some other like the third-party games and stuff having to change to adapt to that, but you kind of cancel it out by bringing up Resident Evil 4 and the nunchuck and being able to enhance your experience and have a variety of experiences with that. Nicole, you got kind of hit by Sam and Rowan at the same time for the price, and you did not really counter it. Your counter was basically like, you can pay for it, which was like, that's not a counter.
I wanted to go for the Xbox One or 360 controller, but the thing is, all the controllers are kind of the same, but the Elite is just there if you want that extra Elite experience. That's why
it is the better. It is like technically the better one with the options, but you knew you were going to get hit by that price, and you didn't really have a good counter for it.
I just accepted it. It's something. It's a luxury that you can have, or if you have a disability, then you can.
And you got points for that. You got points for that.
It's good that there's something like that. I was also going to go with a 360 controller, but that D-pad, man, that D-pad fucking sucks.
That D-pad fucking sucks.
So I'm surprised nobody just went for the straight up Xbox One. Also, Sam, you did argue against Rowan with the just pulling out the DualSense and being like, "Hey, this is the better." I thought that was an easy dunk right there. It was just like, this is better. I don't know what you're doing. And Rowan didn't really have an argument, so it was like, that one was easy.
I have to use that controller.
That's bastardization right there.
I have to use that controller because PS5 doesn't let you use the PS4 for PS5 version of games, and that really annoys me.
Right.
But so I ironically I use that one. But no, I'm really curious.
That's why I made the argument as well about the Elite controllers. That the Elite controller, obviously Xbox is like you can play it on PC, and also now they've made it so that you can play with.
So I was giving you I gave you a little bit of points for getting the PC there at the end because nobody was really talking about PC. Xbox is like the prolific one for using on PC, but it came a little late and it was a little after time, so I only gave you like a half point for it. So I think based on the amount of arguments I have here and the ones that I checked off and starred,
Did you take note of the fact that I said that you can use the controller on Xbox One and Series X?
I did.
I
did.
Good.
I did. Anyway, Sam wins this round. Sam wins the round.
Why?
We're going to a round 4. You didn't argue it. You didn't argue it enough.
I told bullshit. Sorry. I've got a question, right? How is the Wii controller accessible, motherfucker?
That's not the argument. He didn't make that argument.
No one countered me with that. No one had a
I
good
did.
defense
No.
when I brought that up.
No. You don't understand. Though it's based on the arguments. You had one really strong argument with the disability thing, but that can't be the only thing that gets you through. Sam had multiple different arguments for the Wii controller. I wouldn't have picked it out of these 3, but based on the arguments given.
Actually, so ignoring the argument, which one would you have picked out of the 3?
I probably would have went with the Elite, but I really don't like any of them.
I should have gone harder.
I really don't like any of them.
I probably would have gone with the DualShock.
I think one argument nobody brought up that I was hoping somebody would bring up against specifically Nicole, but it kind of applies. But I like the when I think about controllers, I think about them being packed in with the console at launch. Like you get the console, you get the controller. The Elite's not one of those. You can't do that. It's the only one here, but nobody really hit that point, so I had to go with other things.
I deliberately didn't mention it. I was like, let's not bring it up.
That would have been a good argument, but it didn't happen. Maybe one day I have to be one of the contestants, but that won't be today.
Nicole, I'm looking at the controller now on Argos's website. That D-pad, man. Oh,
It's a
Oh,
lot.
it's
It's a lot.
It's
But it's really good. It actually feels amazing when you're playing with it.
it
I
don't
play
look
with it
good.
every day.
It don't look
Oh,
good.
feels
I've never.
Feels good.
I've always
Feels
thought it
good.
looked good.
Feels good. You guys don't know. Feels
Okay,
good.
so
can you
let's get. We got to do a quick round 4. This one's gonna be a faster one. Okay, we're gonna keep it
fuck.
really short.
Fuck.
All right,
Okay.
and you guys are gonna be on the fly here. Round 4, and we're gonna do a tiebreaker round here. The question is, in honor of the Oblivion remastered, what game should get a remaster on that level? Now, the way this round is going to work is instead of 2 minutes for your opening argument, you're going to get 1 minute for your opening argument. And instead of 10 minutes to argue, you're going to get 5. Okay, so we're cutting it all down in half to try to make it go a little bit faster. So it's an 8-minute total round. Okay, the way we're going to pick who goes first, I'm going to roll a D3 and we're going to figure out who goes first. So, Nicole, you are number 1. Rowan, you are 2. And Sam, you are 3 because that's the order you guys are on my screen. So we're going to roll the D3 now. And it landed on 3, so it will be Sam first. Go ahead, 1 minute on the clock for your opening argument.
Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout game of all time. It's one that everybody talks about. However, there are things that need refining. Combat sucks. Okay, it's on the Fallout same engine as Fallout 3. Fallout 3 engine wasn't that great. Combat in Fallout 3 sucks as well. Now, New Vegas, wrong game. New Vegas does have a lot of great things going for it. It's the most iconic Fallout game of all time, but there is a lot of room for improvement. The graphics, they don't hold up today. The gameplay is very, very, very bad. But with a remaster, we can do the exact same thing that happened for Oblivion, and we can do the same thing for the best Fallout game of all time. And I believe that even though that it's not a Bethesda game, Bethesda still do have the chops to do it. They've proved it with all the Skyrim remasters that they've done, and now they've proved it with Oblivion as well. I know technically that Bethesda didn't do Oblivion, but they can help with the Fallout New Vegas remaster.
All right, let's go ahead and roll another D3 here until we get a 1
What's a
or
D3?
3 dice with only 3 sides.
Okay.
All right, Nicole, you're next.
Okay. Hey, so you know how I gave you 2 answers? I thought of a third one after I sent it, and I did say it. I pick Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So,
Okay.
all the things I was thinking of were all already technically remastered to some degree, but the remaster that Ubisoft did for the Ezio collection was garbage. I don't know if you remember that janky ass face of that guy in Assassin's Creed 2, but it was worse than like what Oblivion used to look like. You know, like Oblivion looks like some goddamn masterpiece, the original, compared to Arse Creed 2 remaster. So Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is one of those games that I think is just so iconic. It really brought people in, along with 1 and 2. And I really love Ezio. Ezio is one of the great characters. You know, it's a fantastic game. The behind the scenes, like kind of not behind the scenes, but the story based in the real world compared to the actual story going on in the past, both are so wonderful together and they line up so well. And it's honestly it's one of the best Assassin's Creeds. And it really kind of set the tone going forward for how good these games would be. And I think that this game in particular, oh fuck me, the combat is good and it could be improved in so many ways. Jesus fucking Christ, there's not much time.
All right,
I'll make it all get better in a minute.
1 minute. Rowan, go ahead.
I have chosen a remake to actually remaster, which is the Pokemon Soul Silver and Pokemon Heart Gold, because I think tons of people absolutely love the Generation 4's Pokemon games, and Pokemon Heart Gold were remakes of the Generation 2 games, Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Gold. The leveling system in these games is absolutely abysmal. It is you have to either grind a ton or focus all your leveling into 2 specific Pokemon. It's just all over the place and desperately needs to be changed. The graphics, like if we're talking Oblivion level, they could just kind of up the pixel graphics that they've gone for of these old gens. Like they can make it more detailed, they can make it more flowy. It would be really cool because like people are really missing these old pixely graphics of all the Pokemon games. People are wishing they never even went to 3D. So I think it'd be really unique for them to attempt to make like the pixely graphics as good as they can without, remaking the game. And I'll end it there because I've got 5 seconds.
All right, 5 minutes, free for all.
Who wants to go first?
You.
I honestly, I want to know what you guys think they could really benefit out of a remaster.
Yeah, sorry,
so
Sam,
you,
what did you say again, Sam?
so
What
you
was
said
New
the,
Vegas.
yeah, you said the game combat is outdated. Outdated how so?
So when I played New Vegas recently, the gunplay in that game is pretty dire. You rely solely on VATS. However, since then, the Fallout games with their first person shooter mechanics, they have improved exponentially. Say whatever you want about 4 or 76, but there is an improvement from 3 in New Vegas. They can take some of that knowledge that they have learned from those games and implement it into the combat system for New Vegas. Plus, as well, a lot of the time, your weapons felt like they didn't do anything. Melee, rifles, pistols, none of it really worked. You had to rely solely on VATS all the time to do that. Graphics-wise as well, a lot of it is muddy. If you know what Fallout 3 looks like, New Vegas is that, but with just a little bit of an orange tint to it and a lot more brown dirt. There's a lot that they can do for it.
I wanna round out my point that I didn't really get to wrap up earlier, which is kind of matching your kind of vibe here, which is that yeah, so with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, it's a fantastic game. It plays okay, but it's got that just classic kind of like what you've got, that old jank of that era of games. It doesn't look amazing looking back. It's janky. The parkour isn't very smooth. There are lots of little bits like that that could be improved upon. They can start taking stuff like they could take the Unity kind of parkour kind of system and try to adapt that onto the Brotherhood. Another thing that I really love about Brotherhood that I wish that I think needs to come back, they've stopped doing it because I don't know what the fuck's wrong with Ubisoft. The Brotherhood multiplayer was fantastic. It was a really good time. They could go back into that, kind of streamline it, make new versions of it. They've done such a good job with keeping Rainbow Six's multiplayer up and running and improving on that. They could add little improvements to Brotherhood and bring that back in full force. They didn't bring it back for the Ezio collection, so I think that was really a failed remaster. There was like no point in me going and revisiting it because they didn't add anything fresh or new or improve any little bits and bobs. While Brotherhood could have so many little improvements, and the combat back in the day was just pretty like mid, really easy. And Assassin's Creed now, the combat is so much better with Odyssey, Origins, and everything. So they could really take that kind of combat and apply it to Ezio and Brotherhood, and maybe jump on that stealth, make it a little bit better, and maybe take out that stupid system they used to have at that time, which is to follow the synchronization perfectly. It's like, no, let me do what I want. They could bring some of that back, make it the same story, but let you play a bit more with the assassination targets.
This is the thing that the reason I generally believe Pokemon Soul Silver remaster would absolutely trump both your things is I just don't think about how it would be such a big deal for Nintendo fans and people of Pokemon to be able to replay Pokemon Soul Silver in a remastered edition. Because first of all, do you know how really difficult it is to play these old Pokemon Soul Silver DS games without emulation? They're worth a lot of money. I feel like you can quite easily still play games like New Vegas now. Like you can just go buy it quite easily. And it is like, it feels like it's a part of that a lot of people in the community of Pokemon are missing, that old pixely style, and being able to allow Game Freak to kind of bring it back for a nostalgia bait, but also for like newcomers to be able to play it in a way that newcomers can play it, because the old games just don't feel, just Gen 4 specifically, that it was just such a broken level up system. And I just feel like it'd be a much bigger impact.
Do you think it would actually be like feasible? Do you think they could ever actually do it? Or like, because I don't feel like your one would ever actually be possible and happen.
I don't go like it, because they just need to change the leveling is the main issue. The level
No,
system.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, do you think that they'd ever actually be up for doing it? Would they actually do it? Do you see it as a possibility?
I don't think they'd actually do it.
Yeah.
I think what's more likely is a remake of Pokemon Silver and Gold.
Yeah.
Because that was, but I don't think those would be as good, if I'm being honest, because all their remakes recently.
What would set it apart from the original? Because you're saying you kind of want to just recapture that old magic and just do kind of what it
What
originally
would set it?
did.
What would set it apart is, first of all, the update of the graphics. It'd be nice to see an updated pixel game, because black and white.
But it's just pixelated still.
Yeah. Gen 5 though was really impressive pixely.
Okay.
It was a really impressive game, black and white. They did amazing with the visuals, and it's some people's favorite aesthetic for the entire franchise.
Yep.
But the thing is as well, I cannot emphasize enough, Gen 4 had an awful level up system.
Mhm.
You would just like not level up system, but the XP gained was a very slow rate and inconsistent. Your Pokemon would be like level 60, but the ones you're encountering in the wilds are level 40. And then the next gym leader would have like a really strong Pokemon. So you'd have to grind up your team to get to level like 60 equally, and it'd take hours on end. And people really hated it. It's a big issue of going back. I've gone back to play Pokemon Soul Silver, and I've only, you know how Pokemon's a team of 6? I'm playing with a team of 3 because it's too much effort to keep everyone with XP. Also, the move spreads of all the Pokemon is atrocious. I tried having a Nidoking on my team, and he like doesn't get any poison type moves, which is a really big issue for a Pokemon that is a poison type. But in modern generations, he gets more move access, and these feels like easy changes they could make to each Pokemon to make it more player friendly, because the games just weren't that player friendly.
I want to just say something to Ashton really quickly, which is, as someone who doesn't really know anything about Pokemon because I never played it growing up, this is very difficult to argue. Also, it's coming out that Rowan's got a lot of answers going on right now, because there's no arguing against us right now. There's no pushback going on against me and Sam. So how are we supposed to argue our points right now?
I have something that I've noticed, right? So with both of your games, when you were describing it, the first thing that both of you said were they've already had a remaster or a remake. Brotherhood was already in the Ezio collection. You can think about, you can say whatever you want about it. It was still a remaster at the end of the day. It's already had one.
Not to the Oblivion thing. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Oblivion level here.
Is that right, Ashton? Is that what it is?
The question was what the question was.
Which is what was the question?
The question was what game deserves a remaster on the level of Oblivion?
On the level of Oblivion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, then fair enough, right? Because I was also going to say for Rowan's as well. You said right away you are talking about a remaster of a remake. Remake usually is the last point of redoing something.
Yeah.
So
this is the issue, though. It was made in 2010.
It still had it though. That's the thing. It still had a remake. Once you have said we are going to remake this, that normally is the last thing that you do with that game. You don't say, oh well, we're going to remake the remake, unless you Capcom and you think about remaking Resident Evil 1 all over again.
Yeah,
which I hope
I get it's not like feasible, but I still think, because the issue is the original Pokemon Silver. I mean,
1 minute.
That would have been made ages ago, and that just can't be.
Don't argue his, argue yours.
That game needs a remake, not
I can't.
a remaster.
Don't know what to say.
My main thing is
no one's arguing with me. I'm just sitting there.
I can't argue, bro. I can't argue, bro.
My main thing though is if you're talking about what people want to see, Oblivion has had their remaster recently. Skyrim has had many a remaster. People like these kind of games. New Vegas is a very, very popular game. And granted, you can play New Vegas on a lot of different platforms. PC, I've got it on PC, I've got it on PS3, I've got it on a number of different platforms. However, there are a lot of problems with that game that keeps it from being a masterpiece of a game.
But this is
Brotherhood, though,
yeah, please fight me, please.
Is one of the better Assassin's Creed games. But here's my question to you. Why not 2? Why not Assassin's Creed 2? Because
for me, 2, it was okay, and there were things about it that it was so much like Brotherhood, and Brotherhood was to me the epitome of Assassin's Creed at the time. And I think that it could be that again. The multiplayer took it to another level and brought in a fantastic new dimension to Assassin's Creed. And I'm annoyed that they took it out, because I think it would be really important to bring it back. It's something that not many other games do in terms of multiplayer. Like not many other games are having multiplayer like Brotherhood.
So it's primarily the features. It's primarily the features that you want to see return.
I want to see features return, and I want to see the features improved, because the combat wasn't great. The stealth wasn't great. Following the stupid synchronization wasn't great. I think the game could look better. I think the game could feel so much better and bring back features, because it wasn't a true remaster of anything, because it's like, okay, well, you've left behind half the fucking features, so who gives a shit?
But here's the thing.
All right, Nicole, that wraps up your point. Sam, wrap up 1 point. Rowan will have one last chance to get one last thing, and then we'll cut it off there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the one last thing I'm just going to say is Brotherhood, you can still replay it to this day. It still plays decently. Yes, there are problems with it, like the 100% synchronization, which I agree is terrible. It's a terrible idea. But you can still pick up a controller and you can still play that from start to finish. You may have a few problems along the way. Mm-hmm. New Vegas is very, very, very difficult to play all the way through. You, like I said at the beginning, you need to solely rely on VATS for about 95% of your playthrough. There is no way that you can get through that and play it like it should play. The same. I don't know that much about
Rowan's
Pokemon,
bound to win.
but my main thing about the Pokemon thing is that straight away you said I'm talking about a remaster of a remake.
It's
That to me,
unconventional, but I
that
think
to me
it's
is
still great.
yeah.
This
No,
is
I
so
get what you
hard.
mean. I get what you mean.
This
I get what
is
you
the
mean.
case. So the point I wanted to make though was you two have both picked amazing games. I actually haven't heard much about Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So to me, it is feeling
One
a
of the
bit
better
like
ones.
why that one out of the others
I mean, if
that
you
are still
played
there.
it, you know. So
True.
And same
But
for me with you.
Fallout,
So, you know.
yeah, it's true. But Fallout New Vegas, I've heard tons about, so I understand that people would want that remaster. But I feel like the impact of the Pokemon would be way bigger than these two games, and that's just
I don't know.
All right.
I'm kind
All
of
right, round's over. Round's over. At this point on, anything you say will not be
see.
used for you in a court of law.
I want to say something not part of the argument, just in general, right? So this is so hard because we're all fighting such, different games. Here,
yeah.
But I think that the hardest thing as well is that we don't have a true understanding of each other's games entirely, which made this even harder. I feel like it was so hard trying to push back on different things. I couldn't push back. I tried to push back on you, Rowan, and I really couldn't.
I don't know anything about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and Sam,
That's the issue.
I just agreed with you from the beginning, so I was like, oh shit.
What I would say as the observer,
I'd play a Fallout.
as the
New
observer,
Vegas
as the
remaster.
judge here, I would say then if you ever have trouble arguing against somebody, then don't. Just argue for your own, and if they don't hit you back, that's just free points. Those are free points.
I tried. It was so hard.
Just like if you can't think of arguments for your own, then you're kind of fucked. That's all. That's on you. And then I think there were arguments for Rowan that didn't get pushed back on enough. Like Sam kind of started to get there with the remake versus like remaster thing. Like there was an argument you could have pushed really harder there that like, they have already like remade the game, so like it's kind of weird to say we're going to remaster the remake of a original game. That's kind of weird.
Too, so it's kind of weird.
He got you on the remaster already existing, and so but that was something that you would expect, right? If you knew that your game already got remastered and you're going to put it as this answer, you got to have a counter for that, right?
Yeah,
and I feel like the counter wasn't great because the counter was basically that they did the remake bad originally, which is like fine, I guess. It's like whatever, but it's not it wasn't enough for that little sticking point to not stay for what Sam said. Rowan, what you did say about people missing today Pokemon, I get that because that is a thing. I thought that was a strong argument there. Nicole, you said to bring. I like specifics here. I like the
I think
specifics.
Nicole's frozen.
Uh-oh. Oh boy. So basically, I think that Nicole made some strong specifics about putting Unity parkour into Brotherhood and putting the multiplayer back, giving it another chance, as well as the combat from the new Assassin's Creed games being put into Brotherhood. I thought those were strong. I thought equally as strong was Sam also saying that they could use the FPS combat from Fallout 4 and 76 into New Vegas. Thought that was also very strong. Also very strong was Rowan saying that they could improve the level up system and the move sets. So I get that. I have played all of these games, by the way, so I had a good understanding of what we were talking about.
Amazing.
That's
At least somebody does.
So I knew what you were talking
Someone
about.
has.
Obviously, you two couldn't argue against it, and obviously I'm the judge, so my opinion on it doesn't matter. But Rowan, we're gonna have to talk because I have no idea what the fuck you were talking about with the level up system being slow.
It's so
like
it's bad
in Diamond and Pearl, I guess, but like in Soul Silver, it's awful for a different
Soul
reason.
Silver. I have the
But,
I have that. I was.
We'll have
playing
to
it
talk.
recently.
We'll have to talk after. But that doesn't. It's not relevant to this. To your points here. I think in terms of the amount of stuff that I had on here, the thing that I think really kind of took it over the edge was Sam made a really strong argument, two of them really, that the two games that were mentioned between Nicole and Rowan both had their chance. He mentioned that one's already a remake anyway, and the other one had a remaster, and even if it's bad, they already had their chance. How can you trust them to do it right the second time? And then he also mentioned that New Vegas specifically is harder to play nowadays than you specifically. Oh, I think I left. Oh no, I'm back.
He's like,
There you go, there you are.
New Vegas is harder to play than the other two that are easier to pick up and play in the modern sense. So I am going to give Sam the victory
That's very
for this
respectable. Yeah.
One day I'll win. One day.
It's the one I play. I'd say
Sam,
that.
I thought you were going to lose this, and then this question came up, and I was like, I'm fucked.
I'm gonna be
So,
honest.
good job, Sam.
It was a
made this
good it was a
really
good
hard.
answer just because like we are
Yeah.
talking about Oblivion. New Vegas is like right there.
Yeah.
But-
It was really hard because for me, I played so many newer games, or any of the older games I played have already been remastered. So I was like, I don't have any.
Yeah,
fucking-
for
all my
reference,
answers.
Nicole sent me like Dark Souls and Alan Wake, and I'm like, they just got remastered. It's like not that long
Yeah,
ago.
but they both suck. You know,
Yeah, this
they
is-
could
this
have
is
been
the
improved in
thing.
so many ways.
Arguing a remaster is way more difficult than
Yeah,
arguing.
that's why I did it. Yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
remake, you can just say any old game and expect massive changes. But since
Mm-hmm.
we're arguing a remaster on the Oblivion level, you have to think of niche changes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That, like,
That's
could
what I
improve
that's
it.
what I
And
wanted.
I
And
felt
to be
really
fair,
weird.
I think all three of you did really good at giving me specific niche changes, like specifically bringing Fallout 4 into New Vegas,
Yeah.
bringing Unity parkour
Yeah.
into Brotherhood, changing movesets.
So
And
actually,
that I
what
thought that
will
was
say
really
is
good.
that based on last time we did this, Ashton, I have like a weird checklist in my head now where I'm just like, I need to specify different things like
Mhm.
combat.
You're getting what
story,
I'm
music.
getting what's going on
yeah,
up here.
I try to tick your boxes of arguments
Because you gotta think, right? Like if you're hearing an argument and somebody's like, "Oh, make combat better," I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean? I don't fucking know what that
Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
Well, how do you make it better? You know what I mean?" So I think
we
you all did a
got
really
quite
good job. there.
specific about that. Yeah.
I really
worst
wish
it-
I
the
could have
worst
pulled
it-
up that meme of how bad the Ezio collection was, just to help make my case.
I know what you're referring to.
I will
It's in
say,
my mind.
I will say one thing nobody brought up against Nicole that I'm shocked nobody did. It was like I felt like Rowan and Sam were both starting to get there, but they never did. Which was why Brotherhood? Why not start like that? Would just break the story. So nobody brought
Yeah.
that up though.
Yeah.
Nobody like you started to get there, but then you didn't.
Well,
Swimming, and then I just didn't.
I said
What
it
needs
because
a
I
remake?
don't know Assassin's Creed games very
True,
well. But
fair,
I
fair.
was like, why
That's fair.
Brotherhood?
Yeah, you had like
But
kind
then
of
you just
asked
said
the
it's one of the
question,
good-
not yeah.
You said it's one of the good
multiplayer
ones.
and
And
like
I was
The
like,
good
the
one.
best one.
For all you know, they're all different. Like all like Final Fantasies are all different. Who knows?
It just declines in quality as it goes
Mhm.
along. I did
Sound
have
out
two other
Ubisoft
ones.
haters. So-
Yeah, I did have two other ones as well. I just want to quickly go throw out Bully, the Rockstar game,
Oh,
Bringing it
shit,
back.
I should have gone for that. No!
and Halo 3,
Mm.
which needs the same treatment.
Mhm,
Halo 3
interesting.
Anniversary.
I think you would have lost that one.
My other
I
one.
was gonna
That's
say
the
that
third
one would have been
round.
hard for you because it would have been the like other issue of it's already got like a thing. So how do you
Yeah.
argue it? That would have been
Yeah.
tough. I think you
My
picked the
other
right
one
one.
was Rabbids. My other one was Rabbids Go Home for the Wii.
You would have just lost. I'm
Mate,
sorry.
You
I
went for
don't.
that. I would've loved that.
I picked because we only had 2 minutes, so
Yep.
I went for that, and I was like, I gotta go for something else.
I was
And
scrolling
probably
through all the
would've-
games I'd ever played, just panicking, trying to pick one, and then I saw the Ezio collection and went, fuck it. So,
All right, guys. Well, that's been another
Good
episode
job,
of Game
guys.
Fights. Good job,
Yeah.
Sam. Got his win
yeah, good job,
here.
Sam.
Good job,
Second
Sam.
episode, he's got to win. I don't know, Nicole. You're gonna have to get one of these days. You know, you come in here with the
Sexism is
fierceness,
so-
but that's what it
I'm
is. It's gotta be. All these sausages running
No,
around being
I'm
sexist.
fierce, but unfortunately, I did just agree with Sam on that last one. I feel
Yeah,
struggled with
New
that,
Vegas was
so-
really
It was
good.
tough.
It was a really good choice.
It was tough.
I'm surprised, Sam, you didn't bring out the hype actually, like as a thing, Ashton. I don't know if you thought about this, but I was surprised that you didn't bring out the fact that the Fallout TV show was so successful.
Yeah, the
That's
TV
fine,
show would have been
fine.
huge. I was thinking
Talk
about that, but it
about-
It
didn't
would
get
be
brought up.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have
Shout out
been
to
huge.
Google for giving me the answer.
You
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. You had 2 minutes
Hey,
to look it up.
I'm
So.
a research.
Yeah.
All right. That has been another episode of Game Fights. I'm sure nobody will have any issue at all with me picking the Wii controller as the best controller of all time based on the arguments. There will be no disagreement in the comment section whatsoever over
think that
that.
one was a
All of
bit
my
rough.
options, all of my decisions were 100% completely correct with no issues whatsoever. And I'm sure we will get no comments about, how I, am stupid and should have picked the other ones because I was right. I was 100% right every time.
Well, to be fair, I think that I think the Flash one was actually a really cool answer, but I just feel like my defense went so much more aggressively.
I feel like the Flash one sounded cool, but once I gave
Yeah.
it more thought, I just don't think it'd work.
I feel like I went the Howard the Duck.
Howard should go
I
Howard
really
the
think you
Duck.
got
Should've
Howard
gone
Duck. I
Duck.
think you might have won from the wackiest choice. Yeah.
Sorry, Jason.
Yeah.
That would have
I'm
really
not
been.
gonna hear the end of that. Not gonna
That
All
hear
would
the
right,
end of
have
that.
out
guys.
the box.
We hope you enjoyed it. This has been the Smash Jump Podcast. This has been the second episode of Game Fights. Let us know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe to Smash Jump and make sure to check out smashjump.com for all the latest news and reviews of the latest video game and movie content out there. Anything you guys want to plug before we go ahead and sign off?
I'm in the clear.
Yeah, just check out our website. We do cool stuff sometimes. And,
Some cool
you know,
stuff.
Sam and the team are working on some great videos. So, you know, check it out.
I got a YouTube channel. Come check it out.
He has that too. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
If you want, I don't know.
Gamer opinion, y'all. Gamer opinion. Y'all figure
Your
it out.
opinion.
Game opinion.
Yes.
All right.
Your
And
behavior.
don't forget, also, we're going to do a quick post show at the end here. So if you guys want to see that, where we talk about the fallout from this episode here, and Nicole has been playing the fuck out of Expedition 33 and is dying to talk about it. So we're going to give her chance, her floor to gush about it. So if you're interested in hearing that, go ahead and check out the post show over on patreon.com. You can come support independent media. Until then, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.